Hi guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to my first experiment on sharing one of the educational tutorial videos. And as you can see, our topic for today is around introduction to teaching online. So I'm sure that there are many of you out there who finds it quite challenging to teach virtually, especially for those new teachers, where you find yourself suddenly being moved from a traditional classroom program to delivering programs virtually. And if it's your very first time using technology teaching your students, then you can all agree with me na it's not easy, right? It's very difficult transferring that skills, that conversation into a virtual platform. So hopefully this tutorial will be able to help you navigate yourself much more effectively in a virtual platform, and that you will gain some tips to help you effectively deliver online training. And just to give you a heads up, now this tutorial will have two portions, or I subdivided into two parts. The first part will be what we're talking about now, teaching your responsibilities and your roles as teachers, as educators, as facilitators of your virtual platforms. And the second will be all about the top 10 tips that I have researched through reading, through podcasts, through articles from Mr. Google. And I put that together and made sure that those are the top 10 tips that I can share with you, which I think will help you navigate yourself much more effectively in teaching virtual classes. Now, moving on to the next slide, and I'm sure many of you have heard or have really seen this new normal kind of a language. This is widely used in all aspects around news. You hear it from BBC and CNN, business world, employees, managers, organizations, and even from parents, right? That this will be the new normal. Actually, including eating out and shopping. We hear a lot of people saying, so ito na pala ang bagong new normal when it goes to shopping or when it comes to eating out. Or transportation, like yung motorcycle debate that's happening now in Manila, where you put a barrier between the driver and the angkas, and people are still debating na this is not effective, but hey, it's been imposed by us since it's a mandatory thing. So this will be the new normal going forward. Even in the public vehicles, mga jeep, di ba, meron na tayong mga barrier of plastic or whatever it is. People are very innovative in coming out in those kind of ways to make sure that they abide by the laws or by the guidelines set by the government. And today what we will be talking about is what is the new normal specifically in the learning world, right? What's the new normal means to us? Well, first of all, I can tell you that we have been forced, and yes, that's right. We have been forced by the COVID-19 pandemic to move out from the traditional classroom classes to adopt into delivering virtual classes. And currently, since most of the schools are opting on using technology to teach their students, we consider this new approach to learning as the new normal. So in other words, the new normal really varies depending on the individuals. And let's talk about it, especially specifically to learners. Now, the new normal for different people has different meanings. So for teachers, it means teaching virtually using technology platform like Zoom, FB Live, FB Messenger, and many, many others. Sa mga estudyante, for student, it means learning through these platforms. And in addition to that, to that wonderful feeling of no longer waking up so early in the morning, being forced to eat your breakfast as fast as you can so that you don't miss your transportation to school. And what about for parents, diba? It means having the kids at home, making sure that you have the technology to support their virtual studies. Plus, you need to also become tech savvy or tech expert to make sure that their platform works and they can connect on their platforms para sa kanilang virtual classes. So the meaning of new normal is different for every individual. And let's talk about its impact to learning. Now, we all know that going virtual has its own set of benefits. Marami, di ba, of online teaching, maraming benefits in online teaching. First of all, we no longer have to wake up so early in the morning to prepare the kids, with their lunches, breakfast, dinners, snacks, tapos may baon pa. And if you're one of the lucky stay-at-home moms, you can monitor the food intake of your kids, making sure that they don't eat those junk foods that they might be able to get into their from their school canteen. And you can also monitor their studies. And um, another important factor is there's no need to have a long commute to school, and children can use this save time, in not only children, including us as parents and teachers, to more quality family time. And of course, the number one effect of this or impact of not going to school is avoiding being exposed outside. Of course, with the current pandemic, and we all know that we still have no cure, no vaccine, so which means that we really want the safety of our children, and this means less worries for parents, right? But aside from the benefits, of course, when we flip the coin, there's the other side, which are the challenges. And I can tell you there are many challenges. The number one challenge that I have faced is the internet connection. Ewan ko about you guys, pero dito kasi sa country where I'm based at, nasa maximum na ako ng package of their internet package. Pero unfortunately, I still find a lot of lagging. Yung nagpo-pause, nag-freeze ang aking virtual platform. I use Adobe Connect. So it freezes. Even Zoom freezes once in a while. And I have to really be ready at all times. So I have a laptop, I have a desktop, I have my iPad. So if you could just see my surrounding, plus I have my Android device, because pag nawala yung nag-freeze lahat or nag-frozen lahat, at least I have my personal device to immediately to connect to audio. So, that's one of the challenges that we have when we are working from home. And second point, our expensive device. Let's face it, guys, not everybody can afford to buy computers, laptops, iPad, tablets, Android, and we see a lot of news in social media where parents are really struggling to find ways and means to support their kids just by buying a smartphone or an Android. Talagang ginagawa nila lahat just to make sure that their kids can still participate in the school, di ba? So that's quite sad, yung mga ganun setup and situation. And if you are a working parent like me, I think I'm one of the lucky ones where I can really I have a choice to work from home. It's going to be very hard to assist your kids to log in into the technology when they have their virtual classes, especially pag ang mga anak mo is kinder, grade 1, grade 2, the younger grades. They're still not tech savvy. So who will make sure that they connect in on time, they connect properly? If pag may problema sa internet, who would fix that? And we might have yayas, we might have nannies, we might have household helps, but are they tech savvy enough to kind of help your children connect into their virtual learning? So hindi rin natin secure yon, di ba? And of course, the limited interactions when we are in virtual, it's so hard to see the body language of everybody attending the virtual. And I've been experiencing that with my kids who started their online virtual classes with their teachers. Unfortunately, as a teacher, busy ka mag-present, busy ka mag-take ng notes, busy ka mag-present nung topics, engage your students, and at the same time, understand their body language. Do they understand? Are they comprehending? Are they absorbing what you're trying to teach? So hindi ka rin sure kung nakukuha nila or nagigets ba nila. So that's another challenge, right? Limited interaction. So we don't have that human interaction where they can work as a group. You can have your class monitor who can, have activities, sports, arts, ang dami-daming impact talaga. and and like I said, it's very, very hard to adjust if you're not used to this kind of platform. And I've been working as a virtual trainer for the last 4 years, and I can tell you that nung nagsimula ang pandemic, nahirapan talaga ako. So I worked from Manila for a few weeks, and I can tell you, because of the internet connection, it really had a very heavy impact on my working environment. Kasi talagang ang hirap mag-connect, lalo na paggabi. Super hirap mag-connect talaga sa atin. So I feel those challenges that we are all facing. But hey, learning does not stop. And as teachers, moderators, educational support, we have to really understand what are our key roles in helping our students get adapted to this new way of learning going forward. And this new normal might stay longer than expected, kasi like I said, there's still no cure, no anecdote, no vaccine. So we don't know how long this kind of situation will last. So all we have to do is manage our available resources and utilize and maximize that in order to really become a partners to the parents, and of course, most importantly, to our students. So let's move on and find ways to how do we adjust to this new normal. Now, we have to ensure, just like what you're seeing here on the screen, COVID-19 has really forced us to rethink in how we can support educational learning to our students. Unlike before, we have an option. So I know a lot of schools were not ready to deliver online training kasi it requires a lot of resources, especially I think if you are based in Manila, because like I said, the interconnection isn't that stable. So talaga naglalag ang internet connections mo. But we have a choice, right? But when COVID-19 hit us last February, that really transformed us, and it did not give us time to kind of adapt. At least slowly and gradually. It was just a sudden surprise that things just happened. So I know for a fact that when it first hit us in February, talaga nag-adjust agad ang school. And my daughter's school is, well, it took them about a month and a half to go virtual compared to other schools who were actually more prepared because they have that blended learning already before. So they were much more prepared, and the students were more tech savvy, unlike dun sa school na anak ko na talagang it took them time. They used Google Meet, which was really good, and we'll talk about more of those platforms in our future webinars. But like I said, learning does not stop, right? Uh, our top priority as a parent is, of course, to keep our children safe. But let's face reality. Anong ginagawa ng mga anak nyo sa mga bahay nila? Or anong ginagawa ng mga anak nyo sa kwarto nila? And it's either watching Netflix, K-dramas, doing TikToks, ano pa ba, playing Mobile Legends, online games. And don't get me wrong, I'm not generalizing everybody. There are actually a lot of great kids who I know as well and seen na talagang one of my daughters are like that, na talagang nagbabasa sila ng books, talagang yung nagpe-prepare sila for the next school year, and they're going back to, like, let's say for instance French, right? So my daughter's been trying to read French because she has French language as a lesson, and hirap na hirap siya doon. So nagme-memorize siya or nagre-read siya ng article just to kind of expand her learning over there. Pero realistically speaking, most of the kids are spending more time in their gadgets. And as a learner, as someone who is a parent and also involves in teaching, I think this is a good time to also partner with our students and with the parents to make sure that the children does not lose the essence of learning. They should continue learning at every point of time, and they need to interact with other people, with their classmates, to build those relationships, to be more socially aware, so that it can keep them motivated to learn new things in spite of the pandemic. And as a parent, I'm one of those who are so concerned of sending their kids to school, and decided that if the school forces us to send them to school physically this year without any vaccine, without any cure, I am one of those parents who would rather have their kids miss 1 year Instead na lagi ako nagwo-worry na pupunta ako sa school, I know I might be being paranoid, but that's how I feel right now. And for me, health is more important than education at the moment. Kaya I'm really glad that a lot of educational bodies, governments are supportive of that fear of the parents. And they really tried their best, and I commend them on that. They really tried their best to accommodate and improvise flexibly, introducing virtual classroom. And all I can say is a big thank you. Dahil talagang nakita ko ang daming school na nag-effort. Some of those schools are my kids' school. Nag-effort sila, ang mga teacher, even though they don't know how to navigate technology yet, talagang nakikita mo nagtatry sila, determined sila, and hopeful sila na this will be effective. And it's a learning process. It's an experiment that is that needs to evolve. Kasi at the moment, like I said, nangangapa pa tayong lahat, di ba? But again, a big thank you to all those teachers for their hard work, for trying their best, and for being so patient. Kasi talagang ang hirap magturo. Especially nakikita ko pag bata ang tinuturuan mo and online, ang ingay-ingay, and there's a lot of distraction. Marami talagang distraction. But at the end of the day, we have the role as a teachers, and yun yung ating kumbaga is our calling, our oath, right? Really help students to make sure na natututo pa rin sila. And I could tell you na sa mga na-visit kong trainings or virtual classes ng mga anak ko, may mga asong tumatahol, pusang nagmamiyaw-miyaw, may nag-aaway ng mga kapatid mo sa mga surroundings, or kaya yung mga kapatid mo nanonood ng TV. Minsan narinig ko si nanay sasabihin sa mga anak nila, nag-aaral ka ba? Huwag kang lakad na lakad, mamaya ka na kumain, tapusin mo muna yung classroom mo. So maraming ganun na nangyayari. Marami talagang distraction, and it's so hard to get the attention of the kids pag nasa online na. I don't know about you guys, pero one of the things that I can share with you is that pag ako nanonood ng TV, kahit anong ganda pa niya, kahit anong action pack pa niya, pag inantok ako, tulog ako dun sa sofa, even if the movie is playing around. So an online teacher needs to play the role of guiding students through one or more online learning experience, which means the shadow that we radiate to the kids are the things that they are absorbing. So if you are a passionate teacher, na-absorb din nila yung passion na yon. If you are an interesting teacher, then they will stay interested on learning online. So let's go back to that responsibilities of teachers in making this school year 2020-2021 a successful one regardless of the current pandemic. Now, you have such a big role to play, and it's not easy. Lahat tayo alam natin hindi madali. As a parent, as a full-time employee, as a teacher, as a learner, ang hirap talaga. And just to name a few, here are some roles and responsibilities of a teacher that I have compiled together, which I hope you can relate. And if there's anything that I may have missed, or if you think there's something that you'd like to add on to the list, well, we do have the comment boxes below. So make sure that you add that there. And share it with us. Katulad niya, may nag-aaway na pusa sa labas ng aking workspace. So hopefully you can share with us some of those successful stories. So what is our role? Now, before, teachers are simply sharing knowledge, diba? We are considered the sole holders of information. And gradually, over time, over the coming years, people came to realize that the participation of all those involved in the teaching and learning process was very beneficial. So it's not a one-way communication anymore. And I think you've seen the evolution of learning where, teachers are reaching out to their students to lead a class, to kind of demonstrate that leadership, because we know we're using the ratio of 10-20-70. 10% of your learning comes from the textbooks, from the actual learning, from the virtual learning. 20% are based on the circumstances and the opportunity that allows you to practice those 10% of learning. And the 70% of learning is based on your experience, on how you have executed that learning through that specific circumstances. You may have been a winner, means you have successfully achieved your goal, or you may have been a failure, which is not wrong because failing is part of learning. Always keep that in mind. So sa mga teachers na nag-explore how to make things more interactive, more interesting, just keep on exploring, because over time you will realize na some of them works and some of them does not work, and it depends on your classes kasi iba-iba ang estudyante nyo dyan, di ba? And of course, let's talk about this role. Well, the first one on our list is the most well-known responsibility of the teacher, which is, of course, to share with the students their knowledge. And whether it's in a classroom or an online course, the teacher needs to be an expert in their area to be able to share their knowledge in a way that it will sink in. So when I'm facilitating this session to you, I can tell you that I can do this even in a short span of time because I know the materials. I am very passionate about the topic. Whereas if you ask me to do a maths online classes tomorrow, even if it's as simple as addition or subtraction, I can tell you that, haha, hindi ko po alam kung paano magturo ng math. Actually, that's very true. I love math as a subject. It's my favorite subject when I was in high school, but I just don't know how to teach that to my kids. That's why I've enrolled them to Kumon so that, you know, they can get more guide and ideas. So ganun din tayo, share your knowledge, but utilize your creativity and your knowledge together. It's a good combination. Don't think that just knowing everything about the subject you want to teach is enough to succeed as a teacher. You have to be really creative and get the attention of your audience, because the good educator is the one who can pass along their knowledge in a clear and concise manner. And of course, point number 2 is all around instructing. Now, even if you plan really well, thought out classes, you made sure you know your materials, you're prepared with some questions, I can tell you that there are times there might be some question asked by your students which will certainly come up during the course, and you will find it quite challenging to answer. And okay lang yun kasi talaga ang tatalino ng mga bata ngayon. They're well versed, they're very advanced, and they're very well connected to the reality of life. Therefore, another responsibility of teachers is to know how to instruct their students and answer all those questions. And even if they don't know the answers, it's all right. It's the role of the educator to find these answers so as to help the students in the best possible way. And probably, you know, you can advise the students to help you find the answer. We have Mr. Google now, and I know Mr. Google is not always right, but Mr. Google have enough resources to kind of give you some idea about particular things that you are looking for. And sorry about that, that's my phone. So maraming bagay na talagang kailangan, we have to be creative and we have to make sure that our teaching is effective, right? The next point is awakening students' interest. Now, the classes should be interesting to the point of awakening in students the desire to continue learning, especially when we are talking about online courses. Katulad ng example ko about television, like I said, you know, talagang medyo pag nanood ako and inantok ako, I don't care about the movie, I fall asleep and you will just find me in the couch. And ganun din ng mga bata, you know, they're not, some of them may not be as excited to join an online course or an online training because, like I said, may mga distraction or kinakikita nila yung mga siblings nila naglalaro while sila nakalog in, or mamaya naririnig nila nagkukwentuhan si mommy about their trip to this pag natapos na itong pandemic. And you know how kids are, they're very inquisitive, so gusto nila maging part of that. So you have to really, you know, awaken that interest from the children. And in the virtual learning environment, there are distractions like social media. Akala nyo, nakikinig pa si estudyante nyo, hindi nyo alam, nakikipag-chat na pala sa mga kaibigan nila, or nanonood na sa YouTube, or nagpo-post na sa Facebook, you know, with the matching selfie, I'm on my online classes. So, hindi natin sila makokontrol lahat kasi they are beyond our control. So, di natin sila lahat check. That's why it's important to create a well-structured, interesting, interactive lessons to keep your students focused on the content that you are sharing. And we're going to be talking about that in the top 10 tips. The next point that I'd like to take you through is develop activities. Actually, this is connected to point number 3, right? This is where your creativity really kicks in. And it's quite critical that you have that creativity ongoing. So creating activities after each classes is a one way to boost learning and to find out which gaps still needs to be filled. So maybe a refresher before so you can ask your student, oh guys, okay, we're done now, but 10 minutes at the start of our next class, I'd like you to come up with, some of the headlines that you have taken away from our today's session so that they will be encouraged. And one of the example I can share with you is I've done this activity, yun nga lang sa adults, and I'm sure it will work with the kids, or maybe you can just add something, another components to it to make it more effective to the children. So on my next class, I will do an activity called the headliners, and I will give them 1 minute to work in a group to put together as much learning as they can, or key learning, key takeaways from the previous class. And the team that got the most list, and of course the most correct list, will get an additional points. So make it interactive, make it gamification. People love challenges and they like competing. So try that. And if you have more activities that you've done before, do share that in the comments box also, so that other people can also view that. Last but not the least, of course, is monitor progress. This is very, very important. Not all students will have the same level of learning. Para lang sa classroom, di ba? Meron tayong best performers, meron tayo average learners, and meron tayo those who needs more attention and needs more guidelines. And this will be even more in a virtual class. Like I said, hindi mo makikita ang body language ng mga bata. Hindi mo alam kung naririnig ka na, hindi mo alam kung clear. So using gamification, by the way, it will give you some kind of idea of how they understand, or what are their comprehension of the session or the learning that they have taken away from your previous classes. When assessing students' responses in the virtual classes, and of course yung mga homeworks na sinasubmit nila, the teacher can have an understanding which questions haven't been answered yet, kung ano yung mga difficulties nila, and can therefore think of ways to answer those questions. So even if you teach virtual lessons, it's important to create some sort of evaluation system. I can't give you any ideas yet because I don't really know the primary and secondary ways of evaluation, pero it's still something that I'm reading on. So if you have any suggestion on how can you evaluate your students' performance, please do share in the comment box so that our watchers or people who's watching this video will get those tips as well. And even if it's only for the student to realize at what stage of the learning process they are in. Evaluation should also involve the student, which means that they have to understand what are their areas of opportunities and what are their strengths. And then using their strengths to really leverage that and work on their opportunities. Because like I said, it varies, right? Some people loves online learning, and there are people who still doesn't like learning online, especially kung may mga issues sila sa technology. That really demotivates them a lot. So to summarize, these are the 5 points on your roles and responsibilities. And again, this is just my personal research. Feel free to share in the comment box anything else that I may have missed, anything else that you think is valuable as part of your role and responsibilities as educators of our future generation. Keep on commenting. And we have to understand, and just to summarize and conclude our session, our part 1 of our session, is that as teachers and educators, we play such a great role and we have a great responsibility as a role model. Remember, we cast the shadow to our students. If we are seen as somebody who is an exciting teacher, an exciting facilitator, a passionate one, then they will feel passionately in attending our classes, diba? And we have to also be creative because not everybody is the same. Not everybody can adapt into this virtual platform as easily as some of us. So we have to really find a way to help and pull those people who are left at the bottom of the barrel, because it's really important, especially sa mga students. I can definitely relate so hard kasi talagang one of my kids is epileptic, and talagang she struggled learning when she was in a regular stream. Talagang hirap na hirap ang anak ko. And I'm sad to say that there are teachers who weren't supportive, but luckily she had amazing teachers, and she have an amazing teachers who are very supportive and making sure that, you know, slowly, gradually, but surely she is learning and up to par. So that concludes our part one of our online virtual I will not say tutorial, more of a podcast, but at least you can see me in the background. And feel free to comment below for any other important roles and responsibilities you have as a learning coach for your student. And if there are any other interesting topics that you would like me to cover, I am more into soft skills and you know, more of this kind of things and topics. And of course, wait and watch for my part two. So make sure that you subscribe, you press that subscribe button and switch on the notifications so that it will alert you once my video is done. And hopefully you've enjoyed today's video, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.